Hello, my amazing grade 4 artists. Today we are going to be creating an oil pastel lava lamp. We learned a little bit about how the light bulb inside of the lamp helps heat up the wax, creating these bulbous forms. We are going to be using oil pastel in an analogous color scheme to create our wax and water inside our lamp. The analogous color scheme are neighbor colors. So, an analogous color to red could be red, violet, and violet, or red, orange, and orange, which you can see here in my example. I have used the red, violet, and violet for my wax, and then the red, orange, and orange for my water behind. Let's get started though with first sketching out the wax inside of our glass. Keep it really simple. A wavy line can create that big wax at the bottom, and then we want to have some up at the top and maybe a few floating inside, breaking off from the bottom. Feel free to then take your eraser and soften up your lines before choosing your oil pastel colors. For my lava lamp, I've decided that my wax is going to be different values of blue. So I've chosen a dark blue, a medium, and a light blue, as well as white to create highlights. And then for my water, I'm gonna go ahead and do a blue-green, green, and yellow-green as I go the opposite way on the color wheel. So I've gone with blue for my wax, and I've made sure to have a little bit of dark and also analogous along the side here. One of our goals with our work is to create the illusion that there is a light source. And in a lava lamp, the light is coming from underneath here in this metal part. This is where the light bulb is at. So we really want to have the illusion that there is some light on the bottoms of all of our different bulbs. So my suggestion is to start with your white. And if it's a little bit messy, you can take a tissue and wipe off the tip of your oil pastel. And map out a little bit where you want your colors to go. So I've got some white. Then I'm going to go ahead and take my light blue, followed by my medium blue, and finally my shadow color of blue, that dark blue, outlining my form. Once I've mapped out where my different values are going to go, now I'm going to go back in and actually blend them and press harder with my oil pastels. The key to blending oil pastels is grabbing some of the color by creating sunshine lines or coloring in and out of the color that's next to it. So layer back over some of those places by coloring in and out of the color that is right next to it to kind of merge and mix them. Using your finger is okay, but I really feel like using the oil pastel crayon is one of the best tools that you have. Adding more layers, going back and forth between all the different values of your color can help to create a smoother transition of value. I'm glad I decided to keep my blobs of wax a little bit simple in shape because creating those big value changes is helpful when we have a little bit more room and a simpler drawing. Once you have blended and finished all of your wax blobs, we're ready to move on to the water that they float inside of. And remember, we are using analogous colors. So on your color wheel, take a look at the colors that you've primarily used and either move to the left or to the right to choose the analogous colors for that. For me, I have decided to go ahead with a blue-green and a green and yellow-green. For your variation of light and value, because the light comes from the bottom of the lamp, feel free to either do two ways, making the dark on the inside, then medium and light in the center, or dark, medium, and light. For myself, I think I'm gonna go ahead and make it look a little bit more like a curved form by doing dark on the outside, medium, and light. Keep in mind, we are going to be cutting these out, so feel free to not worry too much about the outline. Though, if you would like to, when you are finished with this work, to extend your depth a little bit, you are welcome to always do a gradient on the outside like I've done here in the sample. And finally, we are going to be working on the metal of the base and also the top cap of our work. Now, because this is a rounded form, we want to create the illusion of that rounded gradient. And to do that, we're going to use black, gray, and white oil pastel. Start first with your white oil pastel. You may not see it, but you need to first add a little bit of that oil so that it will blend together smoothly. Do it in a little bit of a V shape on your base and then flaring out on that bottom. Then go in with black, and I would like you to just do an outline of black on the sides and a little tiny bit next to it. The black is so powerful, so we don't want to use too much, and it will blend quite easily with our gray and our white. Feel free to add a little bit going underneath this top bowl. And finally, go in with gray. Take your gray and blend through that black. Later, we're going to finish with our white and blend the gray even further. Do your best to color in and out in this type of sunshine line motion, which will help to create that contour of our shape. If you're coloring up and down, you won't get as much blending between the black, white, and gray as well. Finally, revisit that white to blend your gray fully. And we repeat those steps for our top cap. At this point, if you are finished with the metal, the wax, the water, all of it, you are welcome to cut out your lamp. If you feel like you would like to extend your learning by also doing an oil pastel background, feel free, especially if you are done early. Try to choose a color scheme that's an extension of your analogous scheme you used for your lava lamp. So for mine, because I did this direction, I went from blue to blue-green, green, yellow-green. For my background, maybe I would go with yellow, then orange, and then a red-orange to complete that same color cycle.